All right, it's that time again. Retro review for The Wire, Season 1, Episode 9. Let's get into it.
Ain't it obvious? I just got the check for depositing. $750 for the sound wave to get it processed. Won't stop till that shit weighing down my pockets. My main thing's to my main thing. She a blossom. When she ease the pain with the brain, she a doctor. She open up anything thicker than the plot gets. Swear that shit is awesome. Sight for the optics. Young nigga on top. Nike's all I'm rocking, so that all they see is checks from where the head to where the socks fit. No logo on the bifocal, flicking old roach tips. Won't even show my face until all the shows book. Need the cash in advance, leave them all social. I'm the guy they chosen. Rise up like the rose and put them on a poster. All the way up in the sky where the stars posted. Sip it on that rose, I put it down on coasters. Stack francs from the waves till I own the ocean. More praises for the sayings, let it all soak in. They like, hey, that shit is flame, bitch, I know I rode. They going tight, dumb.
Hey, you guys, welcome back to my channel. This is EBBIE with EBBIE Reviews, and this is going to be my review for The Wire, Season 1, Episode 9. Something. I can't remember. I wrote the name down. Hold on. It's called Game Day. So, Avon and D'Angelo are at, not D'Angelo, Avon and Stringer Bell are at the basketball court scouting players. They need a ringer for their annual basketball game. The East Projects versus the West Projects have a game for bragging rights. For the rest of the year. So, Avon asked Stringer Bell about Omar. Avon is more worried about his reputation, and Stringer Bell is more concerned about doing the chess moves that it's going to take to catch somebody like Omar. And you can see they're very two different approaches to how they're trying to play this game. So, they pay the basketball player that they're going to use as a ringer $10,000. They pay the coach is like, well, and $5,000 for as a donation to the school. And he was like, yeah. And then when the player leaves, and he says to him, and $5,000 to me as a finder's fee, correct? Okay. So, D'Angelo and Wallace are talking in the low rises. Wallace says that he doesn't want to play anymore. He doesn't want to be in the game anymore. He doesn't want to do it. He's fucked up behind what happened with Brandon, and he's not emotionally equipped to do that. He says at this point he's going back to school. And he was like, how old are you? And Wallace is 16. He looks 12 in the face. He looks like a baby. Listen, he looks like a baby. And so D'Angelo gives him some money. He's like, I told you I don't want to be in a game. He's like, that's not what this is for. He's like, you go back to school, you get your life back on track, and you do what you're supposed to do. And D'Angelo lets him out. Presby, Kima, and McNulty are in the basement listening to wiretaps. And they tell them that it's EBBIE on the phone, and he's coming to pick up something in the towers, and they're going to make a play for it. We back in the low rises. Bodie asked D'Angelo what's up with Wallace, and D'Angelo says nothing. Ain't nothing up with Wallace. He said, just leave him alone. It's all good. Herc and Carver are doing surveillance on D'Angelo and making a phone call, and Freeman comes into the office with a bunch of paperwork for Sidnor and Presby. So they're on the roof with McNulty and Kima, and Bubs and Johnny are in the pit waiting for the new package to arrive, the new testers to arrive. When they see Waylon, the guy who was the sponsor, who was giving the speech at the NA meeting Johnny had to go to, that really affected Bubs. So Johnny thinks that he's there to get high, but he's not. He is trying to prevent his nephew, who is young, from getting high. So Bubs actually talks to Waylon, and okay. And they're having a conversation, and he tells Bubs normally he's like, I'm trying to get my nephew to get clean, but it's hard because he's young. He's only 24, and he's like, normally they're not ready to get, any people are not ready to get clean until they're like 35, 40. And he asked Bub, how old is he? And Bub says, young at heart. So we back on the road with Kima, McNulty, Herc, and Carver. And Herc is on the ground with Freeman and Presby. And Sidnor are following the businesses and the money to see who owns what. And they're pulling corporate charters, things like that, trying to connect all the dots. Freeman says that if you follow the drugs, you get drug dealers and drug addicts. But if you follow the money, you now know who you're going to run into. They've already run into the bag boy for Senator Clay Davis in the low rises picking up money. So the money could go anywhere. So Freeman is now following the money. He's trying to figure out whose campaigns they contributing to, what businesses do they own, who's their front company, who's the lawyers that's following all of their paperwork. He's trying to follow all of the money. And everything connected to them, because when they pull them down, they want to pull down the whole kingdom. Weebay gets pulled over by Herc and Carver, and they find 22 grand on him. And Weebay was like, I don't know where that money came from. And they're like, okay, well, we don't have a charge to arrest you on because there's no drugs and no guns. It's just money. It's not illegal to run around with money in your car. So what we're going to do is confiscate the money. When you can come to the state's attorney's office and say how you got this money, then you can have it back. So, we then go to Omar, who is going back to his spot, and he done fixed the door so he can tell if anybody is in there laying in wait for him. We then go to Herc and Carver, who is listening to Poop on the phone, having phone sex. And both Presby and McNulty is like, after like 90 seconds, if it's not pertinent, you have to get off of the wiretap. And it was like, you have to justify why you were on the wiretap past the 90 minutes if he was just having sex. And because at the end of Poop's call with the girl, once they finish doing whatever, they start talking about Wallace and how Wallace won't leave his room, and they think he's getting high and things like that. And they say, see, that's pertinent. And it was like, yeah, but you're going to have to justify why you listen to the phone sex in order to get to that 30 seconds at the end of the conversation. So we are in the projects and everybody is hollering, Omar coming. This motherfucker's doing a lot. Omar coming. He's just walking through the neighborhood, and he goes to the stash house, and he was like, and they was like, you can come up here if you want to. We got an AK-47 for that ass, blah, 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 blah. He was like, listen, I'm going to be here today, tomorrow, the next day, and the next day after that. And he's like, and I'll shoot all of you motherfuckers just because you didn't give me what I wanted today. So they politely dropped all the drugs out of the window. Kima and Freeman pull up on D'Angelo's girlfriend, the little stripper girl. Dating D'Angelo, and we see Poop, and he is copping some dope. So we are outside of a store on a different corner, not from anywhere in the neighborhood, and Poop is coming out of a store, and he see Wallace copping some dope. And Poop is just like, there's nothing, he doesn't even know, he's not equipped to deal with it. He don't even know what to do. So Freeman and Kima want to flip the stripper so that she can inform. So what they use they use her friend Keisha, who died last week at Weebay's party, and they wrapped her in a rug and threw it in the trash. They show her the body and tell her what happened. to get her to flip. And she was like, well, clearly I gotta go. She's like, I'm just here for tips and that's it, and drinks. That's it. That's all I'm here for. And she was like, I'm gonna quit. And they was like, no, before you quit, we need your eyes to be the eyes and ears inside the strip club. So they done flipped D'Angelo's girlfriend. And I'm gonna finish them out. She goes back to D'Angelo's house and she breaks up with him, and she does, and he was like, what's going on? Like, unceremoniously, she comes back to the house. She don't say nothing to him. She just starts packing up all of her shit. And he's trying to figure out. And then she was like, do I look like trash to you? He's like, no. She's like, what do I look like to you? He was like, a beautiful woman. I don't understand. And he was like, do I look like something you would roll up in a rug and throw in the trash? He has no answer for that because he knew that he knew what she was talking about. So, we then go to Bubs. Bubs goes to this nice neighborhood, and he goes up to this door and he knocks on the door, and apparently it's his sister's house. And he sees his niece comes up to the door, and you know, Bubs is looking terrible, and he's like, I'm thinking about getting clean again. And she's like, okay. And he was like, you know what, never mind, I shouldn't have come here, this was a mistake, you know, I'll see you around. And she was like, no. She gives him a key, and she's like, you can only come through the back door. There's a sofa down in the basement. I'll throw you some pillows and blankets down there. Don't come upstairs. If you come upstairs, I'm calling the cops on you. Clearly, she's been through this cycle a couple of times with Bubs, where he has come in and she let him in because she got a soft heart, and he has not done right by her. But she still loves him. That's still her brother, and she's still willing to give him a chance. So, we then go to the basketball game because Herc and Carver is trying to figure out why there's no action in the pits, in the towers. Nothing's happening. It's because everybody's at the basketball game. So they are at the basketball game. They see Bodie and Poot and them, and it was like, what are y'all on a break? He was like, yeah, we on break. He was like, hell, we on break too. And so they all enjoying the basketball game together. So then we meet Proposition Joe. Proposition Joe is the Avon Barksdale of the East Side. I think Barksdale is West Side. So they are the ones who are funding all of this, and the loser throws a cookout for everybody the following week. So Proposition Joe says to Avon, he was like, I see you got that boy from college. And Avon said, I see you got this boy from who he was playing basketball overseas. And they both have ringers. And he was like, okay, so we even. We both got ringers. I mean, what you mean? And then he says to him, well, you want to make it an even 100,000? Want to move this bet up? Avon like, bet. Because he swear to God, his little junior college dude gonna wipe the floor with the rest of them. So then Proposition Joe give the wink to some little tiny boy sitting on the bench. He come out, burn their asses. Listen, he took them out because Avon made that bet because they was up 12 points, not knowing that he had a secret weapon with this little baby on the bench. So, you know, they lose at the end to a call. Avon gets into the referee's face, and he was like, it's a basketball game. Ain't gonna be no problems. He punks him and then get mad that he was able to punk him. Nigga, it's time. Okay, so they figure out which one is Avon. Everybody goes over to the game, all the cops, and so they're playing front and follow when Avon leaves, and so they're trying to surveil him, trying to figure out where he goes, and they kind of loses him. And so Lieutenant Daniel said, okay, I'm gonna pull off and see if I can't find where he went. And as he pulls off and he's driving down the street, D'Angelo is coming up the same street in his car, and he looks at Lieutenant Daniels as he's driving by, and he goes, I know y'all was following me. Not today. He's very Matumbo about it. Oh no, not today. This is my house. Let's see. Okay, so Herc and Carver, when they turned in the money that they got off of eBay, you know, they were talking about maybe keeping some of the money, and they both decided against it because, you know, they're up on a wire. So if we turn in such and so amount of money, then, and it's not correct amount of money, then we are up shit's creek. So they decided to turn on all the money. But they heard over the wire that it was 22,000 and they turned in 15. They lost some of the money. So Carver turns to Herc and was like, did you take the money? And he was like, no. And so Lieutenant Daniel says, you have until tomorrow, roll call, to find the rest of this money. So they look and see and go and they find the money. They tore that car. When I say they tore that car up, they tore that car up looking for that money. And they ended up finding the money in the wheel well. It had got stuck in the wheel well. So they found the money and was able to turn it in. So they then go to Omar line. Okay, so Omar goes to see Proposition Joe. This is after the game and everything is over. And after he stole the drugs. So he takes all the drugs to Proposition Joe. And Prop Joe says, well, what do I get for this 4 packs of dope? He's like, what do you want? He's like, I want a way to contact Avon and one of his people's codes. So he's like, okay. He's like, well, clearly this is not Avon Barksdale. He lost all his money to me and he lost the basketball game. Clearly today is not his day. So he gave him his phone number and Weebay's code. So Omar is laying outside and wait out of Orlando, and he texts and he pages Avon. Avon goes out and he goes to call a number and it's a busy signal. He goes back in and he pages him again to come back outside. And so he's out there thinking Weebay is calling him 911 when Weebay had just left to go get food. So serendipitously, Weebay is coming back, talking about they had cheese fries. And he was like, well, if I'm calling you, who the fuck was calling me? And then he turns over and looks over his shoulder and he sees Omar. Omar almost got that ass. He was laid in wait. He scared the piss out of him. So there was a shootout. Omar gets hit. He is able to get away. And that was how the episode ended. Avon is shook than a motherfucker. And I can't wait. Listen, like I said, there are no fuller episodes. So many things happen in this show. It is absolutely amazing. Drop down in the comments. Tell me what you think. What do you think Omar's next move should be? What do you think Avon is going to do next? You know, they like to... So yeah, tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.